Thanks. So, yeah, I'm really lucky. I get to wear two hats, both of which I love. Being director of marketing at Lexar is great because it puts me in the industry and lets me get a lot of good freebies. But being a photographer, how many people here have gotten like that money shot that they really like, that one shot that makes you feel really warm inside? Couple, maybe half. That's pretty good. There's nothing like that feeling, right? It's very rare at Lexar when you get that, wow, you did a great job, and they pat your back and everything. But when you get that money shot, there's a feeling you get that you can't get in the corporate world. So I get to kind of taste both, which is nice. How many people here have seen me present before? Okay, cool. New people, yay. New victims, fun. Here's the way I work. I am pretty informal. I'm a little bit nuts, very type A. I do have a lot of content here, and hopefully you'll all walk out of here learning something today. So my goal is to keep you awake, especially you in the darker areas of the room. And I want to show you some of the things that has helped me become successful. And as I mentioned, I'm lucky in that I get to live in the world of photography, but also because of my marketing background, I can bring that to my business side of my photography business. And I feel that a lot of photographers, there's some great photographers out there, but a lot of them are like doctors. My dad was a doctor. He was a great doctor. He wasn't the best business person. And what I see is some really good photographers who just don't run a very good business. So I want to talk about the business side of this and how to make money. And since everybody raised their hand when David asked if you want to make money, we're going to go with that as a goal here, is how to become successful. And my business really started almost by mistake. 7 years ago, I've been shooting for a long time, but didn't really know what I was doing. I've been learning a lot over the last 10 years. And 7 years ago, someone asked me if I'd shoot their daughter's bat mitzvah. And I was nervous. I said, I don't shoot professionally like that. I don't know what to charge you. I don't want to screw this up for you. That was what I was really worried about. So finally, I came up with this idea about 6 months before the event. I said, here's the deal. I'll do it for free. You don't have to even pay me. It's kind of a friend of a friend. I said, if you like the images, you can pay me, and if you don't, don't. There, no pressure on me. So I went and shot the event. Things worked out. And through different turns of events, which we'll talk about during the presentation, I had a bunch of people came up to me and said, I want your card. Well, I know a card. I'm not a photographer. But the marketing side of me said, And then the guy said, I really like the images. Here's a check. And I went, interesting. This is good money. And so first thing I did, went and made business cards. I became a photographer. I had a lot to learn, controlling the camera and learning all of those things, and we'll talk about that today. But it's turned into a lot of bar mitzvahs and weddings and things, and it's just snowballing to the point where now I feel like I've got 2 full-time jobs, because Monday through Friday I'm at Lexar. Saturdays, a lot of times I'm shooting bar mitzvahs or weddings or what it might be. And then half the time I'm traveling. So I'm from California, so I've been here. I shot a bar mitzvah on Saturday, flew out here. I go home, I shoot another one. I go to Sydney, Australia, come home the next day, shoot another one. It's like this constant going. I'm gonna get tired. So without further ado, let's get into this. We'll try to keep questions to somewhat of a minimum, just because we don't want to break the flow too much, but if we have them, we'll take them as we go. All right, so we're going to start with, and for those of you, a couple of you might have seen previous presentations like this one, and I try to get updated with new images and things for both my sake and yours. But I just shot this first image. I shot this a couple weeks ago. And the reason I put this at the beginning of this slideshow is because this is why I do photography. This image, this is a dad. It was the father-daughter dance. And dad started dancing with his one daughter. His other daughter came over, and they hugged him. And look at the look on his face. I mean, it's like you could see the emotion that tells a story. And to me, this one photo is like, wow, this one really touched me. And sometimes I come back from an event, and I'm more excited about the photos than they are. But this, to me, kind of like really spoke to me. I love the emotion in that shot. And same thing with these. I tend to shoot pretty wide open at 2.8. Sometimes I'll even use lenses like an 85-1.4, or I'll shoot a 50-1.4. In this case, I try to use a lot of ambient light and adding just a little bit of flash if I need to. This one here is a detail shot. When I'm doing things like bar mitzvahs, or even weddings, you expect to do the rings and things. But I like to do something like this, where I'm getting just a little bit of the Torah at the bottom and kind of getting a hint to who it is without showing their face. Doing something a little bit different. This, by the way, makes a perfect 2-page spread on a book. or an album. So as I'm shooting, a lot of times I'll be thinking about what am I going to do with this. And my wife, who makes all my albums, because she's way more artistic than I am, she always says to me, where's my 2-page spreads? Where's my detail shots? So I go out there and get those. But we're thinking about that because you could overlay another picture right over here in the corner and maybe another one over there and inset them. So you want to think about that as you're shooting. This one here, I just couldn't stand it because she's too darn cute. The hard part about shooting kids like this is they're so cute, you have to remember there's other people to shoot. You keep following her around. Another father-daughter dance. Love the emotion. It's very red, very pink, but that was the lighting. So some people say, well, how do you get rid of that and go back to natural skin tones? Well, but this is the way the event was lit. Let it be. So that's what I did. This shot here is something I like to do, and I'm doing more and more of this. And again, I mentioned I'd like to shoot at a really wide aperture. So this was shot with the Sigma 85 1.4. It is an amazing lens for the money, which is great. And I love the way you get that really blurry background and it's tack sharp on him. It's drawn the attention right to him. One of the things I like to do, so one of the keys to being successful in business is to be different, right? And that's probably true from Apple Computer, as their old slogan used to be, all the way to what I do. I want to be different, and one of the things I do is I try to use ambient light. So a lot of times at bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, they do candle lighting ceremonies. So I purposely turn off my flash, and if I have a video guy next to me, I'll tell him, hey, Andy, can you turn off the light for a minute? When we get all the candles lit, just give me a couple seconds to get an ambient light shot. He'll turn off the light. I'll use the light just from the candles and shoot the family like this. It's really pretty. Yeah, is it tack sharp? Nah, it's pretty sharp. Could be sharper if I used a flash, but it would ruin the emotion. This actually is enlarged. I was over at their house recently. I've shot all their kids' mitzvahs, and I'm doing the youngest one, so we just did a portrait of her in the backyard. I went over to the house, and they had it enlarged over their mantle of their fireplace, nice and big. And man, there's nothing better than seeing that, because it just means that you added to their history of their family. And I will tell you that a year ago, almost to the day, my mother passed away. There's a picture I took of my mom on a cruise ship in November, 3 months before she passed away. And she loved that picture. I love that picture. She didn't like having her picture taken. How many people here like to have their picture taken? Yeah, that's why we're behind the cameras instead of in front of it. But I took this picture of my mom, and I realized when she passed away that image defined, that's the image, when I think of my mom, I think of that picture. And I realized we're historians, we are not photographers. So when I'm out there working, I'm always keeping that in my mind. I want to have that passion. I want to over-deliver and just blow them away. So I want to keep that in mind every time I'm shooting. I don't sit down. Can you guys tell I'm type A? I'm always going. And so I'm always looking for the next shot, always trying to think differently. Like this shot here, I was shooting it with a flash, sometimes using the diffuser. And then they broke out the little glow sticks, went to a black light. The first thing I did is kill the flash and use the light that was there to try to exploit that. But it's about emotion. This next shot I shot recently, this was cool. This was the rabbi's son, his bar mitzvah. So here's a rabbi half the time going, I'm dad, and half the time going, I'm rabbi. It's kind of fun. But you could tell that's not just a normal, relationship with a student, right? You can tell this is a special moment to them. And I have some other images I want to show you that I shot during this, but it's really important to capture those moments. This temple, by the way, is really dark. It's one of the hardest ones to shoot at in the San Francisco Bay Area. So literally, when I got the job to shoot this one, and I've told the rabbi, I don't know how many times, we need better light before your sons, get some better light. Well, he didn't do it. So I went out, I got the new Sigma 120 to 300, 2.8. The thing's a beast. Weighs like 7 pounds, it's huge. But it let me shoot 2.8 from the back of the room and get these kinds of shots. The goal for me, when I'm shooting an event, is to try to get to at least 100th of a second, at least. So that if the kid does that kind of motion or laughs, I can freeze them and not get too much motion in it. So I'm pushing my ISO. I do shoot with the 5D Mark II. I'll show you what I shoot with. But I try not to keep my ISO to 3200 or less, preferably 1600. Keep it as clean as possible. This shot here was kind of funny. This is another temple, and inevitably streaks of light come through. And the video guy next to me is like, he's cursing. Wait a second. This is kind of cool. So I did is I remetered for the light and let everything go dark except for that streak of light. Different. Made the cover of the book. Parents are like, we love that image, put it on the cover. So you want to try things that are new, to get outside of your comfort zone and just experiment. Because it's digital, right? Going back to my world of Lexar, I got 300 gigabytes of memory, no problem. I'll shoot and I'll try different stuff because I don't have to worry about it. If I don't like them, delete them. So what are we talking about? What is the goal? Oh, by the way, 100th of a second at least. Well, actually, we were outside for this one. It was easy. But freeze it. So we'll talk about the goal, the challenges we face, and God knows we face challenges in this business. The hardware, the software, my editing, which is critical. How many people here edit images before they post them to a gallery? Really? How many? Are you guys 5, 10, or all of them? All of them, 20. I'll tell you why I don't do that. Time is money, and if you edit all of them, you're burning a lot of time, and they're not. I only retouch it. Well, I might retouch my favorite 10, 15 tops, but after that, if they're not ordering it, you're just wasting time retouching. This is assuming you're a good enough shooter that you don't have to. If you're 3 stops underexposed, you have an issue. You'll have to brighten it. But if you're close, I just post them. And I tell the client, if you order an image, it will be retouched. Don't worry. So look at the gallery, see what you like. We'll talk about that. So I'll go through my whole process. And by the way, I've got to be ultra efficient. I have 2 jobs, right? Monday through Friday, I don't have a whole lot of time to work on the photo business except in the evenings because I'm working at Lexar. So I've gotten my system down to the point where I can be ultra efficient. Tricks of the trade, and I'll tell you some of my tricks on how I've gotten successful. Just to tell you guys, even in this tough economy, I'm turning away more business than I'm taking. And I barely advertise at all. And we'll talk about what I do there. And then what to do with your new time. So let's talk about the goal. As we all know, the goal is to make money. Although I will tell you that one of my goals also is to come back with great images and to blow away the family. I don't want to just meet their expectations, I want to beat their expectations. I want to save time, because again, time is money, but time is also time with my family, and relaxing and watching the Giants beat up on my Niners and then winning the Super Bowl. I do want to differentiate. Here's the thing. We all know, like in this area, on the West Coast where I am, there's a lot of photographers. There's a lot of people who call themselves photographers. So you've got to differentiate. You've got to, and I'll tell you, the one comment I get more than anything else on my website is, we're calling you and we want to hire you because we saw the picture on your website. They show the emotion of the day. You captured those days. We don't like seeing all the pose stuff, because pose stuff is nice, and I do some of that. But the real job is to capture the emotions of who they are, not who I am. So when I go out there, I'm always thinking that, and like, here's the worst part. And how many people here shoot professionally? Don't you love it when mom's standing behind you saying, smile? No, not that smile. The smile I trained you yesterday. That smile. Yeah, good. That one. And you get the, no. Right? So what I do is I say, Mom, we got it. Or what I usually do is, hey, Jane, follow me. We're going to go outside. Mom, Dad, meet us out there in 5 minutes. And I'll take them out by myself. And then I let them calm down. I show them the back of the camera. Look how great you look there. Wow, I do look good. Then they relax, and then we keep shooting. Then we add Mom and Dad. But I really don't want them over my shoulder. You have to do this very politely, by the way. You can't throw an elbow. It doesn't work. So you have to go, oh, Mom, we got it. We're good. Or the other thing I'll do is, don't smile, just give me a nice serious look. Usually that turns into a bigger smile because they can't do it. And then they break into that smile, boom, get that one. Happier customers, there's nothing better than a happier customer, because then you don't have to advertise at all. So one of the reasons I love shooting bar mitzvahs versus weddings and everything else is who you're surrounded by when you shoot a bar mitzvah. Lots of Jewish people who have kids. So if you do it right, and they know that you do it right, it just turns into a giant snowball. Referrals, my goal is to always turn one event into 3. I almost said 3. Would that be 3? So when I shoot something and I'm running around, here's the fun part. When you shoot around and you walk around and you're doing this, good. Am I a good photographer? Well, I don't know. Guy seems to be working hard, but you don't know. I'm going to tell you how I show that to everybody at the event. And the key thing, and this is something I live by, hopefully you can tell that, is I like to have fun, right? I mean, if you have passion and you're having fun what you're doing, here's the worst, and I see this with other photographers. Right? And you have the look on the face like, I don't want to be here. This sucks. I'm burnt out. Yeah, right. Okay, get together. Yeah, great. And that sucks. When I'm out there shooting, I'm having a good time. I'm dancing with the people. I'm playing with grandma. I'm part of the party because you're being invited into that family for that day. So you might as well enjoy it and become part of it and have fun with them, get them to loosen up, then you get good shots. So from the minute they show up, I'm having fun with them or trying. And 95% of the time, you connect right away and you're off and running and have a good time. The challenges, the economy. Anybody here understand that it's been kind of a crappy economy? Maintaining quality, tough to do because you want to keep challenging yourself. You got to keep practicing. You kind of want to keep improving as you go. As I mentioned, being unique is really important. How are you going to be different? How are you going to look different than the other 100 photographers or 500 photographers that are doing what you're trying to do? Being aware of the competition. Here's the problem with competition. Who is your competition? Everybody else, but who are those people? Other photographers. Uncle Harry. Amateurs, yeah. This is my favorite one. You know, we'd love to hire you, but Uncle Harry's got a DSLR, we're good. Which makes me laugh. And you hear it all the time. And what you tell them is, so when you have a really great meal, do you go to the cook and go, wow, you have great pots and pans? You must. That was a great meal. The camera's a tool, and I tell my clients this. The camera is a tool that we use. Do you go to Matisse and Van Gogh and say, wow, you must have amazing paints and brushes, because that was a beautiful painting? No. Right? So I tell them, this is a tool, and unless you know how to do this correctly, I shudder at you think about someone showing up to a dark event, a room like this, in the middle where it's dark, with a flash, not knowing how to control that flash, right? And they're going to try to shoot an event. It'd be very difficult, right? And so we have to keep telling people, look, this is a tool. This is not. We don't walk around just hitting a button. And I blog every week. And when I blog, a lot of times I'll blog about what I was thinking in that process, kind of like I'm telling you. Well, I shot that off center, so it'd be a good 2-page spread. I shot this at this aperture, turning my flash down half a stop to rely on this ambient light. I bounced the flash off this wall and did this. And the reason I do that is A, to teach other people how to shoot well, but also, it also tells the family as they read their own blog, wow, this guy really had to think as he shot. And I will tell you, I play hockey twice a week. I get more physically sore shooting than I do playing hockey. All day, contorting and running, and I'm crazy. I'll climb stuff, I'll lay down on the floor and shoot. So yeah, I push the boundaries, but it is exhausting. And we'll talk about the hours involved in a little bit, which comes to time perception. Why are you charging so much when you're only here for 7 hours? Love that. We'll talk about that in a second. So we talked about competition. There are true professionals that we're up against, for sure. Then you have the just starting photographers who go, I'll shoot it for $1,000 and give you all the JPEGs. You know, and people start that way, and that's okay. But that's not who I'm trying to shoot for. If someone says that's what they want, I tell them, okay, go with someone else. Uncle Bob, love Uncle Bob. That's Uncle Bob, right there. There's always somebody in the family who has a camera. And if they tell me they have a professional photographer family, cool. You got yourself, you saved a lot of money. I shot my own sister's wedding, saved her $5,000. And here's the funny part. People are like, well, do you really want to shoot your sister's wedding? Because then you can't enjoy it. I'd be sitting in the crowd itching to shoot anyway, right? You guys get that, right? I'm like, I gotta shoot it. So I did it. I've shot all my nieces and nephews' weddings, and you know, it's just the way it is. But it's the best gift in the world you can give to them, right? You're saving them a lot of money. You know, they go, oh, that was nice, thanks. Like, wait a second, I give you the best gift of anybody. So competition is also the economy, and that will happen where people are going to say, we really love your work, and we really want to work with you. We just can't afford it. We both lost our jobs or whatever, and that's going to happen too. Time perception. Let's talk about time perception. So you're charging $3,000 a day just to shoot? I get this all the time. Yep. Sounds good, doesn't it? Except that let's start looking at it. Okay, I spent 2 hours on the phone with you, both selling you, meeting with you, talking about the event. I had to prep my equipment, and trust me, you want to do this, right? You want to charge batteries, clean your lenses, clean your sensor, whatever. You want to make sure all that's done. And I've got about an hour there, but I've got that down to about half hour now. Day of shooting. depending on what you're shooting, whether it's a wedding, and I'm using wedding and bar mitzvahs as my example. I shoot all kinds of events. I'm shooting the Summer Olympics in London. I shot the Winter Olympics in Vancouver, and I did Beijing. So I shoot all kinds of events, but we're kind of going with typical event like you might be shooting here. 11 hours. I get there, well, let's say I'm supposed to start shooting at 9. What time do you get there? 8's a little early. I like to sleep. I try. But I'll get there. But you have to plan. If I have to drive an hour, you can't leave an hour before because you have to plan on flat tire or God knows what, getting pulled over, whatever. So you leave a half hour early, earlier than that. And you get there a half hour early. So you're starting at 8:30, give or take, which means you're leaving the house at 7:30. And then you get there and you shoot from 9 to 1 if it's a bar mitzvah thing. And then you have the evening party from 6:30 to 11. It's a lot of hours. And I will tell you that break in between, I have about half an hour spare. And some of you might think, well, if you have 4 hours break, why is it half an hour? And I'm going to show you what I do. Post-processing. For those who raised their hands and said that you edit everything, you're going to be a lot more than 2 hours. My goal is to go through all images I've captured through the day, which is about 2,000 images, get rid of the bad ones, find the good ones, post them to a gallery, and be done. And I give my clients guaranteed the next day their images are on a gallery by 3 o'clock at the latest. So you want to be efficient. Retouching images. Now once they pick the images they want, then you want to retouch them. It takes about 4 hours. I've gotten pretty good at this. I've got down to a system. I can do them in about 4 hours. Album making, which luckily I've got a very talented wife who does this, but I have to retouch them. I put them on the server, then she takes them and builds an album, and inevitably, most time, they want to make some changes to the album. Can you make this picture bigger here? Remove the one on page 3, move this to that. Sometimes you get a laundry list. This is her favorite thing. She gets the email that's this long, and she looks at me and she's like, ah. And sometimes you get the client goes, love it, print. We love those. But inevitably, it's still taking about 2 to 4 hours to do. Guess what? 24 hours total, which comes to about $125 an hour. Not bad. Of course, that's pre-tax. Keys to becoming successful. You better know your camera. How many people here feel like they know their camera 75%? 100%? Really? That's pretty good. Because there's stuff in those cameras, there's some stuff in the custom functions I don't even play with. But you want to know your camera. What you don't want to do is be in a situation where you're shooting and something's not going right and you don't know why. And I will tell you, the first wedding I ever shot was for a favor. It was a very low budget wedding for someone who'd been married 15 times, or whatever it was. And it was a really low budget. And someone asked me this before I was shooting professionally, and they said, can you shoot it for me? I'm like, sure. I put my flash on my 30D or whatever I had at the time, and I shot, and everyone was blowing out. I'm like, crap, this flash is broken. So I put it away, put the next flash on, and same thing's happening. Well, my shutter speed was way over 200th of a second, and it couldn't sync, and it was blowing out the images. Well, I know that now, but I didn't know it then. So if those things happen, or in the situation where you're shooting in low light, or something unique happens with something different, with lighting or motion, you better know how to grab it. Not only the safe shot, freezing them, but maybe you want to be creative and drag that shutter and get some motion blur, but you have to know how to control that camera to get it. So the first thing you want to do is if you haven't gotten that, you want to get to that point. And I will tell you that the Olympics, you're moving at such a rate, there is no time to think. You have to know instinctively with the camera, like the 1DX is announced by Canon, that's what I'll shoot with in the summer games. I have not shot with that camera yet. So I've already told Canon, you better get me one by like April or May, because I gotta have a month or so I don't have to think about what I'm doing with that camera. People skills, and you know, I know this is kind of obvious, but people forget the people skills. People ask me why I'm successful at photography. 50% is my pictures. The other 50% is the way I treat my customers. And most of my customers, because I'm part of their family for the day, they become friends and almost I feel like I'm an honorary family member. And that's important. When I'm out there shooting, I'm smiling. And that's really important. And I will tell you that almost every time I shoot an event, they come to me at the end and say, wow, you really worked your butt off, but you seem like you had a good time. It's important because what do you see when you take a picture? It's a reflection of you in many cases. Always be ready for that key moment. You saw the picture of the girl laughing or dad hugging the son, and you'll see a bunch more coming up here. Be ready for that moment. Yeah, we know weddings, you've got the ring and the kiss and all that stuff, but it's the unscripted moments that happen. And I shot a benign mitzvah with 2 kids, same time. I was shooting for one family, another photographer was shooting for another family. I'm working that camera the entire time, 2-hour service. And I don't leave it because something could happen that's really cool. I want to get it. The other photographer walked away from his camera. I'm like, oh, where are you going? He goes, oh, the only picture they really want is halfway through the service when they're holding the Torah. And he left. And I'm like, really? Well, you know, mom and dad are doing a speech. Their mom's crying. Tears are what? Money. Right? We love that. Cry, mom, cry. But I mean, this guy missed. I started shooting it. I'm like, you know, screw him. Someone's got to capture this. It was frustrating. So work it and find those moments, because the moment, especially the unscripted moment, is the one I'm looking for. When that girl was laughing, the parents had said to her, well, the next time we'll be up at a bima with you will be when you get married. And she's like, oh my God, right? Boom. If I'd missed that, I would have kicked myself. Good marketing. I mentioned this before. Successful business means you're running your business successfully. It means that you're thinking about, like in the old days, if you went by a corporation and you saw their office building, wow, like you drive by Apple and Cupertino, wow, man, they're really successful. Your website is your building. People are gonna look at your website and they're gonna hire you based on what they see there. So you better make sure it's good. What do you judge by, your best image or your worst image? Yeah, your worst. And people ask me, please look at my website, and I'll look and go, ooh, ugh. You don't want a shot. If you're new and you have a small portfolio, put a small portfolio. Put 4 or 5 key images that are great. Don't put anything else. Social media and blogging. How many people here are on Facebook? All right, how many people here are not on Facebook? Okay. Social media, whether you like it or not, is here to stay. It's a big part of marketing. My Facebook page, I post my blog to it every week and update it. It's important to have. And blogging, how many people here blog? How many people here feel like they're held captive to their blog? Yeah. So I started my blog for my family. I travel quite a bit. Next month I'm in Australia. The month after that I'm in China. And I'll be at the Olympics. And at the Olympics I blog every day. What's it like to be behind the scenes, and what did I shoot that day, and what were the challenges? But the blog, now I've got like 60,000 people looking at my blog. So if I don't blog for a week, I feel guilty. But blogging takes like an hour, hour and a half. So it's like, oh God, like even tomorrow I'm gonna go to the 9/11 memorial, and I'm gonna take some shots and I'll blog about it. What I shoot, what angles I shoot from, why did I shoot that way? At least I'm hoping to. Hopefully the weather will be good. But I'm always shooting and thinking about the blog, so you become captive to it, but it's fun. I mean, I love doing it. It's where I share stuff. But it also gives your clients a place to see your work and see that you're constantly trying different things. Advertising. How many people here advertise? Very few. 1. Let me tell you about 2. Let me tell you about advertising. I have people call me all the time. Do you want to advertise? Nah, I don't. I don't even need to. I'm turning away a lot of business anyway. But I'll tell you where I do advertise. Google. I own the keywords of the Bay Area. Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, benai mitzvah, bar mitzvah invitations, whatever it might be. Those cost me like, I don't know, $3 a click at the most. My average bill is like 40 or 50 bucks a month. If one person clicks and hires me, I've paid for that ad for the next 3 years. Not bad. So that one actually works really well for me. So if you don't do that and you want to become successful, look into that because it's cheap and it works. But of course, nothing's better than word of mouth. You want to take care of it, over-deliver, the customers will talk. When people come up to me in a mitzvah and they say, can I have your card, or a wedding, and they say, can I have your card? Sometimes I'll say, you know what, actually I'm out of them right now, but just ask the mom. She'll give you my information. I used to like leave my cards out by my projector and stuff like that, and that's a little bit too ambulance chaser-ish. I don't do that anymore. I used to also have my name at the bottom of every image when I would project. I don't do that either anymore. But you do want to show your work, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but you want to show your work. Show them what you're doing and why you're better than the next guy. Phone sales skills, when a client calls, be as helpful as possible to them. All the people who call me up, I don't think we can afford you, but we want to talk to you. And I'll talk to them. Have you picked a DJ yet? Do you want to know the best ones? Caterers, venue, videographer, I know the best ones. Even if you don't hire me, I'll be more than happy to email you the list of the people that you want to talk to. Really? Why? Why not? And even if they can't afford you, they may have a friend who can afford you and say, talk to him. Common sense. Timeliness, you and your products. And this is something you want to stay up to date with technology and the way that you're shooting and the latest styles without being too trendy. I mean, it depends what you want, but you want to stay to the point where they can look at the album 10 years from now and still like it. You know, don't have the albums where it pops up with, you know. So here's what I use. Currently, I'm using the 5D Mark II. I have 2 of them. How many people here shoot with only one camera? Yeah. I've actually trashed a camera in a shoot. You want to have a backup. If you're going to shoot professionally, have a second camera. Even if it's not as good as your first one, have 2.
Do they have that compact card for 16 gig per second?
Yeah, I've got memory cards coming out all ends. So yeah, I have no shortage of memory. That's my easy part. But lenses, I have a lot of different lenses. I just added that 120 to 300 2.8 Sigma, which is pretty cool. It's a Canon. It's a beast. Not a Canon. It's a beast. I used to use the 100 to 400 at the back of a temple or church. Now I use that Sigma. My go-to lens for portraits is still the 70-200. How many people here are Canon shooters? And how many people here are Nikon shooters? How many people here shoot something else? Sony, Olympus, whatever. Okay, very few. Pretty much, regardless of which brand you're using, it's a good selection of lenses for me that kind of works. My go-to lens during portraits would be the 70-200 or the 24 to 105. Party would be the 24 to 105, the 16 to 35 if I'm shooting certain things, which we'll talk about. I love the 51.4, which, by the way, how many people here have a 51.4 Nikon or Canon lens? That is the best value around. That lens is like, here is like 350 bucks or something like that, and it's amazing. Which one? The 50 millimeter 1.4. Oh. It's like $389 or something like that here, and I mean, for the money, it's unbelievable. That lens, the Sigma 85-1.4, which the picture that you saw with the dad with the 2 daughters and the other dad with the 1 daughter dancing on, that was taken with that 85-1.4. I love that Sigma lens for a lot of reasons. One is it's like less than half the price of Canon's 85-1.2. It's also lighter, and it's a beautiful lens. So that one has become like one of my favorite ones to shoot with. Fisheye, be careful using a fisheye for portraits, because you make mom look like she's 700 pounds, and she won't appreciate that. But I do use a fisheye, and I'll show you a picture of how I use it. Extenders, not too much. Flashes, you want to have a backup flash too, in case you fry one of those. I've done that too. I carry 3, although I generally just carry 2 with me at any one time. Tripod, I actually do carry a tripod with me. Obviously, in the back of the temple or church, I'll use it. And then for parties, I'll also use it, because sometimes when you've shot 900 images of people dancing, and then you get to the point where you're shot out, I'll try some different stuff. I'll take the flash off and just put it on a tripod and get motion shots and stuff like that. I do use a low pro bag. Obviously, I use a lot of Lexar cards. And I will tell you that I previously have used 600X. We just came out with the 1000X cards, which are crazy fast. And I'll tell you what, it isn't often that I fill a buffer when I'm shooting events. When I'm shooting the Olympics, I'm filling it constantly. When I'm shooting a wedding or mitzvah, I'm not. I will tell you, though, that the key thing for me for this is the download speed. Because I'm able to download, I'm able to move 150 meg per second. And I'll tell you how that comes to my advantage in a little bit. After I'm done shooting, I use an Apple. I'm a Mac fanatic. I own iPads, iPhones, anything that starts with I own. I even own stock for what little bit that's worth. But SSD, how many people here have a solid state drive in their computer? 1, 2. An SSD, how many people here don't even know what a solid state drive is? An SSD is basically replacing your hard drive with flash memory. It's like taking a compact flash or SD card, a giant one and putting it in place to your hard drive. So there's no moving parts, it's all flash, and it's blazing fast. I put a Crucial, which by the way, is owned by Micron, which is the parent company to Lexar. But it doesn't, I don't even care. I mean, we want you to buy a Crucial brand, but SSD in general, doesn't matter what brand you get, will increase the speed of your computer. Photoshop will run 3 times faster. It's incredible, the difference. So what I did is I have a 256 gigabyte solid state drive as my operating system and applications drive only. And then I've got 9 terabytes of images and everything else on other drives behind it. But it is crazy fast. I have lots of Western Digital drives. Like I said, I've got 9 terabytes in my machine. I have 10 terabytes in my Drobo. I've got 2 4 terabyte drives that I crisscross between my office at Lexar and home. And I back up every month or so and switch them. And that way, God forbid, if I have a fire at my house, they're backed up somewhere else. Because as a pro photographer, when you shoot for money, you better have backups of their images. And I keep every image I've ever shot. Even stuff I have from a pre-1 megapixel camera. Scary, but true.
You back up to the cloud?
Do I back up to the cloud? I don't usually, and the reason is I shoot too much. The thought of backing up 20 gigabytes at a time to the cloud just scares me. It's just too much. So it would be a good way of backing up, and maybe just your best images. I've done that. When I shoot the Olympics, and I'm in places like Beijing or London, I do back up my key images to the cloud to guarantee, and I also FedEx drives back and forth home. I'm really anal about backing up. I never, and I have this somewhere else in my slides, never, ever, ever format my memory cards until they're backed up in many places. Be safe. I do use pro readers. Believe it or not, people don't understand that there are fast memory card readers and not. The memory card reader is as important, $39, but this is as important as any other piece of equipment I've got because I want to download really quickly. Epson, I use the R2000, it's a $500 printer. This printer has actually changed the way I do business, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. They said, we really need you to try our Pro printer. I'm like, I don't want one. I don't do my own printing. Not interested in doing my own printing. And Eddie over at Epson sent me one, and I'm like, I'm not going to use it. And then I started using it, and now I'm absolutely hooked, and I'll tell you why later. How many people here use a Wacom tablet? That's actually one of my biggest time savers. I used one of those, and now I'm the only person that I think at the Olympics that takes one with me. Actually, I take 3 with me. Have one in the press center, one in my condo. But I mean, I won't edit without it. It is absolutely amazing. It's a pressure-sensitive tablet, so as opposed to using a mouse and having to constantly change your brush sizes, you can just edit like a natural motion, and the harder you press, the thicker your pen gets. So when you're cloning things out or getting rid of stray hairs, it's unbelievable. $200. This is my beginning. I prepare my hardware, as I mentioned. I charge, clean, make sure everything's right. And I love this one. I don't need to clean my camera sensor. It's got a sensor cleaner on the camera. Wrong. We call those boogers, and there's lots of boogers in the camera. And I had this argument with Moose Peterson. I go, when I first was starting, Moose, I don't need to clean my sensor. Well, trust me, you do. And what I do is I bring up Microsoft Word on my 30-inch display. I zoom to 500%, so I have a giant white screen. I go to F16 on my camera. I point it at the screen because it's nice and bright. F16, fire a shot. At F16, you will see the boogers, and they'll be clear as day. At F28, they'll be diffused. So go to F16, shoot it, and you'll see. Now, if I get a little bit of dust on my sensor, it's down in the corners, and they're small, cool, that's okay. But you get that one big one right in the middle, that means every shot you're taking, you have that right in the middle of their face. So you want to make sure that your stuff is clean. How many people here fly airplanes? Okay, you have a checklist, and you've flown that airplane 100 times, 500 times, you still have a checklist. Fuel's a good thing to remember. I have a checklist, and I look at it, and I've shot lots of events. I still look at my checklist. Okay, tripods, cameras, charge batteries, flashes, proper lenses, projector screen, whatever it might be. Power cords, extension cables, business cards, family's information, directions, wallet, whatever. And literally, I go through that checklist every time. In the morning, and then for the party, I double check it. Here's the thing. So I go through my checklist, and then I pre-visualize. Where is the venue for the reception or party? Okay, it's there. What's good shots there? So in this case here, this is a wedding in Yosemite. I happened to be with Canon at their Canon in the Parks in Yosemite. And so I went to this hotel where they were getting married about 3 months before the wedding, because I happened to be there. It's about 4 hours from my house. And I saw this cool little pond. And I thought, God, you know what would be really cool is to get her in her wedding dress and get the reflection of that. 3 months before the wedding. When we went to the wedding, I didn't want her trouncing out there through all these reeds in her dress, so we shot it the day after the wedding. But I told her, I have an idea. Are you guys willing to get dressed on Sunday and we'll shoot it? Yeah, totally. So that's what we did. Pre-visualize 3 months ahead. Now, do I always do it 3 months ahead? No. But you want to think through. There's one that I shot. There's a place in the Bay Area called Sparky's Hot Rod Garage. And they have like all these old hot rods in this warehouse, and they have a fake diner. So I looked online, and I saw that, and I thought, oh, there's my shot. I want to get the family in the diner pretending like they're drinking, milkshakes and stuff before the party starts. And that's what I did. So I'm thinking through like what would be a good shot and what would be interesting. By the way, I do use rechargeable batteries when I shoot, because I don't like having is this one half used or not? So I recharge always the night before. I do, you can kind of see her, I put little labels on them with dates. So I know when I started using them, and then I dump them and get new sets every 6 months, year, depending. Shooting for speed, I do use pretty quick cameras. The 5D Mark II is pretty quick. Now, is it a sports camera? No, but it's plenty for events. And you don't want to be using 10 frames a second in a church or temple. They'll love you for that. I actually shot a bar mitzvah probably 6 months ago. I was in the back of the temple, and the mom just did this amazing speech and went to hug her child, like, oh, this is awesome. And you could see that rabbi, he turned around and looked at me like, and I went like that, because we're paid to get the shot. And afterwards, he goes, what was that? I go, it was too good of a moment. Okay. Shoot first, pray for forgiveness later. I mean, it's our job, right? Let them get pissed off. I mean, try not to piss off the clergy. Bad idea. But we have to get our shot, so you do it. High-speed cards is important, like I said, not only in the camera, but also for me, for events, for downloading. Proper file sizes. I shoot all my stuff in the church and temple raw. But guess what? I do all my parties in SRAW, which is half size resolution, because I don't need 21 megapixels for a party shot. Half resolution's fine. How many people have ordered an image the size of their house? Nobody. Honestly, I could shoot the entire day in SRAW. I think 21 megapixels is overkill. Although for the service, it is nice to be able to crop in, still have lots of resolution. So I shoot those raw. But for the party, I'm right in their face anyway. I got what I need. I'm framing it, so I'll go SRAW. It also means I can download them faster, because they're small files. Limited video, I don't do a lot of, people ask me all the time, do you do video? Because the camera does. No, I don't. I'm a still guy. If they want a video, get a videographer. And if they can't afford a videographer, hire my son. He's 16, he's good. Let him worry about it. He's actually good at editing too. Try to refrain from overshooting. Yeah, this is a tough one. How many people here feel like they overshoot? Gosh, I might as well raise my hand. I put that in there because I kick myself all the time. I end up shooting sometimes 2,400 shots in a day. I do get mad at myself that evening when it's 1 in the morning, I'm trying to go to bed, but I never sleep until I download. And then I have to go through them all the next morning. But I will tell you that you want to be cognizant of it as you're shooting. Because I've seen, we call it spray and pray. I hope one of those came out. That's what we do at the Olympics, right? I shot for USA Hockey in Vancouver. That's all you could do. Guys crashing the net. You had a 1D Mark IV at 10 frames a second. Go! Hope you get that one. I'll show you the one I got. But you want to try and not overshoot. So I'll show you some of the images from a different type of event. This is from the Olympics. And I'll tell you how this equates to other events. This actually is a key moment. This is a key moment, opening ceremonies. It was very beginning. And I said to someone, what is the key moment of the opening ceremonies? Because someone had been to practice 3 days before. And they said, well, we can't tell you. I go, 8 gig memory cards, 600X. Okay, here's the key opening. Guy comes through in a snowboard right through the Olympic rings, and the guy that did it in practice broke his leg. It's gonna be a backup. Cool. Boom, I'm framed and ready to go. Key moment. I tried different things. This is actually a fisheye lens right on against the plexi. You can see the boards right here. So I'm right up against it. I had pre-focused with a fisheye, 15 millimeter Sigma fisheye. I went up to someone about this. I pre-focused. I locked the focus. I gaffer taped it so it wouldn't move because I'm dropping that camera on the ground. So I'm shooting with a 1D Mark IV with a 7200 for most of the game, but when they're right in your face, you can't use a 7200. So I drop that camera down, grab the 5D Mark II, and spray and pray. Hold up the plexi and just fire. That was actually my #1 image, requested image from the Winter Olympics. Go figure. The other spray and pray shot was this one. This is the American player. So I shot for Team USA. Going around the Canadian, this is the American stick. There's the puck. He scored on an open net from this position. Now I play hockey, I couldn't even dream this, let alone execute it. But the fact that I got it right there at that moment was really important. Just like this shot, this is a sequence of probably 10 shots to get the one that I really wanted. So how does this equate to other types of events? Well, let's talk about shooting in burst mode for speed. Well, I'm gonna show you 3 shots that were taken within seconds of each other. So this is the same dad playing rabbi/dad with his son. Look at the emotion in the son and dad's face. Awesome. Tells a story. Look at the next one. Tells another story. Look at like a half a second later. Do you guys see that? There's 3 different stories there. There's 3 completely different feelings to those images captured. And this is why you want to be at your camera ready all the time. If you walk away and go get your Starbucks and you missed it. But it means you have to be mentally on for an entire day. It'll drain you, but it's worth it. When you're at the event, you want to think of every attendee as a potential client. UPS used to say, every customer, when you deliver a package, they tell their drivers, every customer has $1 million on their forehead. And they do, because people talk, right? The other thing is, here's our favorite thing. I talk to a client, they hire me. And I say, so is Johnny your only child? Oh no, he's the oldest of 5. Really? As my daughter, who's 14, says, booyah, right? That client is now a $20,000 client. As long as you take care of them, treat them right. So you want to think of, and as you're walking around and you're shooting an event, you don't think people are watching you and summing you up? This guy works hard. This guy will do anything for a shot. This guy has a great attitude. That's what you want. The other thing is I always offer my images to other vendors for free. I'll tell the caterer, do you want me to shoot? Here's my favorite thing. They set up a beautiful spread and they get the little point and shoot. It's gonna look like hell. And I said to him, would you like me to shoot that for you? Here's my card. I'll send you the images for free. Why? Referrals, right? And plus you treat them right. It's just good. We see the same people all the time. So just the other day, I shot a mitzvah. It was a 5-hour party. I'm like, 5? 13-year-old kids, 5 hours? That's a lot. By the 5th hour, I was shot out. I tried everything. So it was vendor on vendor day. So I go, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of the video guy. Hey, video guy, can you shoot me shooting? We were like shooting each other. But good for our websites. So always take care. This is the DJ. I did the shot for him. Something I do is I always try to shoot something new at every event. And the thing is, I do that for 2 reasons. One is I like to deliver something different to my clients. I don't want the cookie cutter. Yes, we're gonna get the shot of the kid up in the chair for the hora. We're gonna get the shot of you kissing at your wedding. That is expected, right? I wanna do something different for them, but I also do something different for me. Because when you shoot every week, you're gonna get bored to death if you just do the same darn thing every week. So I push myself. So some samples of that is what I shot 3 weeks ago. This girl, they did a whole Hollywood theme and they decked this place out. It was awesome. So this is a DJ I've worked with many times and a video guy I've worked with many times. And I thought, what'd be kind of cool is the DJ is out like this. I'm gonna just go up over him, hold the camera up and just fire off right over him like that. It's different than just doing the group shot of everybody. It adds a different, and he kind of frames the image with his arms. I kind of like that. I'll lay down on the floor Like I said, I'll do anything for the shot. So I'll put a 16 to 35 with a diffuser on my flash. I'll lay down on the floor, tell all the kids, hey, everybody go over me and look down on me. Boom, and I'll shoot that. So this was, I actually did that. I do that once in a while when it's appropriate and fun. So I shot this wedding, and they wanted to go get drunk before the wedding. And I said, oh, not a good idea, but I'll hop in the limo with you because I'll do anything for the shot. So I went with them to the bar. They wanted to at least have one good drink before the wedding. So it's before the wedding, and you see that wood countertop over there? I thought, you know what'd be cool is to hop up on a chair, climb up on the wood thing, and shoot down on them. So I got them together, and I went and I stood up and loved. I'm sure the bartender was thrilled with me up on their beautiful wood thing. But again, shoot first, ask for forgiveness later. So I got the shot. It's different. It's kind of cool. The fisheye, I mentioned my fisheye lens. I generally don't use that with portraits because it's just horrendous, but very cool for an overall shot to show, in this case, a bar mitzvah, wide shot, perfect for a 2-page spread on an album. I mentioned that I get bored after a while, and so I try different stuff. This is a slow shutter shot. Kid, that red streak is from his little neon toy thing. Kind of fun, different, keeps me awake. Same with this one here, same thing. This is the bar mitzvah boy. I'm like, hey, do it again. Woo! I'm on a tripod usually, and I'll just set it up and shoot it. How many people here have spun their camera when shooting? It's really fun to do. What you want to do is put your flash on your camera. The flash will freeze your whatever's close to your subject. But as you spin the camera, like maybe a half-second exposure, all your lights in the background will go all wonky on you. It's cool. It's different. And I'll tell you what else. You turn that around and you show that to a family, and they're like, what the? Like, how'd you do that? It shows that you're thinking beyond just pointing a button.
How are you doing that?
Quarter second, half-second exposure. You let the flash go TTL. Don't even mess with the flash. Just go full power on the flash. Diffused usually. And then I'll line up my focus on the rye, and as I'm hitting the button, I spin the camera. And I'll do it 3 or 4 times, because sometimes those lights will go in their face, like you're seeing a little bit here. But I'm telling you, when you do this and you show it, especially if you have those white Christmas lights over on the, above them, it's awesome. But if it pushes the envelope of what they think can happen with the camera. And so it says to the family, when you turn it around at the event and show them, it says to them, I'm smarter than you are with the camera, and you're paying me for a reason. This one here, I do zoom effect a lot when I shoot like bridges at night and stuff. I thought, what would it be like actually during a service? So I don't know if it would sell. And I think I like it, but it's different. Kind of cool. I don't know. Thought I'd throw it in there. And the other thing you want to do is you want to think different than most people. So this shot here, I shot this because I saw the dad with the little girl as they stood up. I thought, oh, that's really cute. And then they started pointing. I'm like, perfect, stop, right there, boom. And I shot it. I shot it at an aperture that's wide enough that it puts the focus here. But this is diffused enough that the attention's still on them, but it still lets you know that there's people up there, right? I didn't make it so diffused that you can't tell what's in the background, but I didn't make it so sharp that you're conflicting on where you're looking. And that's one of those things where you gotta be good enough at your camera to be able to make that decision split second, like, oh, boom, boom, and get it. Without, and it's different. Most people don't look at what's happening in the stands. And I've got some pictures, which I didn't put in here, of the best is little kids that get bored. Because they start looking all over the place, chewing gum, whatever. And they turn around with that look, boom, get that. I'll look at the way the sunlight is coming in across the people in the church or temple, and I'll get some great shots with hair light or whatever. I'm always looking around thinking. In this case, there was a balcony. So I shot a bunch of images of people dancing, and then I ran upstairs, and I did a slow shutter shot to get a little bit of motion in there, and shot that. This next shot is kids eating lunch. It was a horrible setting. It was a hallway. You can kind of see that in the camera. It was not a photogenic type of shot. The background was brutal. But I thought, you know what? What's the best way to show this? Well, I saw this kid taking a picture, and I said, do me a favor. Hold that camera up one more time. So that's the way I shot it. Family loved it. This next one's really strange. She's ghost-like. I was at a temple. We were done. I was done shooting in the afternoon, getting ready for the evening party. So I had a couple hours to kill. So I was going, my gear was somewhere in one of these. So I was walking back to go pack up my gear, and I saw the reflection of these kids behind me in the window. And I thought, that's kind of cool. So I took a picture, and I thought, wait a second. And the bat mitzvah girl was right there. I said, come here for a second, honey. Stand right here in the sunlight. Now remember, she's behind me. I just point and I focus on her, even though I'm pointing at the glass. So it showed that. Now, I like it, the family liked it, but you don't know, it's a risk. But again, it just shows that you're thinking differently and that your mind is active. This one here I shot 3 weeks ago, that same Hollywood bat mitzvah I just did, and they had those mirrors with lights all around it, for, like they do in Hollywood for putting their makeup on. And I saw her look at the mirror, and I shot this, and I had her stop so I could get a couple more shots, and I added a -2 flash so I could light her up just a little bit behind her so you could see her. But I wanted the metering and I wanted the focus in the mirror, and that's what I did. I love that shot, it's really cool. And then of course I liked it so much, Mom and Dad came by, I'm like, whoa, stop, you're coming over here and let's do another shot. And I did the same thing, although I turned down the flash a little bit because I wanted to put a little bit more focus on them. I will tell you that I photoshopped out some of the distractions in the black by them. I left a little bit of light reflection, but I photoshopped out some other stuff, and the mirror was actually dirty, I had to clean it, stuff like that. But I blogged about this shot, and it definitely told the family, like, wow, this guy, because they've seen the proof, they know what the proof looks like, it's not that good. I cleaned it up, did a lot of work to it. So it helps let them know what you do in post, which is also important. People say this all the time, can you just give me your JPEGs? That's fine. Nope, won't do it. I say, will you buy a car from BMW or Ford or someone and say, just give me half of it. Don't worry about steering and brake. We'll take it out later. I want to complete my images. Remember, this represents my brand. So when I'm out there, I want it to look perfect. As someone once told me, don't edit for your customer, edit for yourself. Because here's the thing, if this was grainy or there was other stuff in that black, the family would still love it. But I want it to be good enough to pass what I want. So at the event, you want to capture those key shots. We talked about some key shots. At a wedding, it's going to be the ring, it's going to be the kiss, it's going to be all those things. Here, this was Dad, the rabbi/dad, taking a picture. I took a picture behind them, looking at their son. I also have pictures the other direction. But I like the fact that you see Mom and Dad with him right in the middle. Same thing with this one here. Look at the emotion there. It's real. Do you think I could say to the family, hey, everybody look at her, you look down, No, you'd never get that look. So it's capturing what's going on. And this means being ready at all times. And knowing how to meter, how to flash. There was a window to Mom's left. I framed purposely to avoid that because it would screw up the metering. This is another shot with that Sigma 85 1.4, and it is beautiful. Tack sharp, blurring the hell out of the background, and just getting you right on her eyes. Of course, the colors on the Torah don't hurt either. Beautiful kid. Key moment, there's certain, reading from the Torah was key. Bat mitzvah, put him up on the chair. This one here is the time that I'm using a 16-35 lens for this shot. Be careful when you use a wide angle lens, in this case, that you don't get too close. Her feet will look like they're about 5 feet long. So I will back off a little bit with a 16 and shoot with a diffuser on a flash. But that's a key shot. And when I have backup shooters, when I get double booked, and I book someone else to shoot an event, I tell them, you shoot the hell out of this shot, because you can't come back to me and not have a shot of the kid in the chair. So I don't care if you take 500 pictures of this, I want one that's killer. So, and this is the advantage of having a lot of memory, and I use a flash pack, the Canon flash pack, mainly for these shots, because I want to recharge really quick and fire off a bunch of shots to get the one I want. I generally try not to walk around. How many people here walk around with more than one camera on their belt? Yeah, I don't either. I carry one camera and I run back and forth what I need, generally. To be a good photographer, you want to be able to walk into a room and within 15 seconds know how to shoot it. And I love this when people say to me this, Jeff, we want you to shoot our event. Have you ever shot at so-and-so hotel before? No. You might want to come out with us a month before and look at it. And if they really insist, I'll do it. But you know what I tell them? A good photographer, I can walk in that room and within 15 seconds, I know how to shoot it. White ceilings, White walls, good. I can bounce off walls, bounce off the ceiling. Oh, black ceiling, green walls, that means it'll bounce green, no, diffuser. Like, right, you want to be able to assess a room. I had one family that hired me in a very wealthy area. I went up to their mansion, looked at the room where they're going to do the bar mitzvah in their home. I looked at the room about a month before, I said, got it. They called me up at 7:30 that morning as I'm getting ready to leave and said, we decided to do it outside. You know what I told them? Cool. You can't panic. The minute you panic, they panic. This is what I tell my clients. I want you to be freaked out on everything else but me. You're going to be stressing about the caterer. You're going to be stressing about the venue and the party and the DJ. I said, you can stress about them. Don't stress about the photography. I've got this handled. Put them at ease. That works. Key moments, dad in the chair. I don't know why dads always show way more emotion than moms and kids. I'm not sure what it's about, but it works for me. A little bit of emotion in there. I'm actually moving with him. Key moment during a wedding. This one here, unscripted moment. I don't know if he's Hawaiian or thought he was Hawaiian, but he did the little thing, you know. This is one I just shot 2 weeks ago. This is the child watching her montage. You know, look at the slideshow of her growing up as a baby. What do you do when their montage is going? Are you watching the screen with everybody else? This is your chance to shoot the child, mom, dad, and siblings. So I got my 85-1.4. You can tell I'm kind of sitting down with the other kids, and all I'm doing is staring at her. I'll pre-focus on her face, and I'm waiting for that moment when she's naked in the tub, 2 years old. And she's like, boom. And that's what I'm going for. So sometimes I'll actually pre-watch the montage if I get it in advance, and I'll go, 8 minutes in, they're gonna love that one shot. That's where I'm gonna get a reaction. So I'll watch that. I'll shoot pictures of mom and dad, and about 6 minutes in, and I'll go into position and get ready. So that's what I'm looking for, because you can't script this. This is not something you can tell the kid, I want you to smile like that. No. This is grandma looking at montage. Again, another key moment. Can't script it. This is the Hollywood one I did 3 weeks ago. She's a singer and an actress. So she surprised her parents and everybody else, had worked with a DJ, and she did a song. It's really cool, special moment. I got that. And not only did I get that, but I turned around, and there's mom and dad with that proud look on their face. Your job is to tell the story and be active and be looking around you at all times, not just at the kids singing, but how are people reacting to the fact that she's singing, and capture that too. So you want to always think in advance. And the same picture I showed you before, because I think it's good enough, it deserves a second look. Not because of my job. I mean, I did an okay job on it, but it's what they gave me. Same thing here in a wedding, having a great time. This is that one in Yosemite. This shot, next shot here, this is Grandpa, who happened to be standing at the right place. The light was coming right through him, and I shot this. Looks better on these screens than on this one, but you look at the light of that, and the first thing I did is turn my flash off immediately, turn around, and get a frame. And then I might have time to reframe again if he stands there, but that shot was like just perfect light, happened to be. And the family loved this shot. I love this shot. It shows him. It doesn't show who I am, it shows who he is. It just happens to be perfect lighting. And of course, our same shot we looked at before, it's that emotion, a moment that was not scripted, wasn't something I was aiming for, it just happened. It's our job to capture it. This next one is my wife's and my daughter's favorite shot I've ever taken. I shot this last week, and I came home, and I said, you have to see this one, and my daughter goes, best ever. I'm like, no, it's not my best ever. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, it is.
Is that in a photo booth?
It's in a photo booth. Grandma and Grandpa. I saw the other grandparents, and I took their picture, and then I saw these guys go in. So I pulled the curtain, 24-105, and I pulled the curtain aside and just put my camera right in there and shot it. Is it a great photo? No, it really isn't. I mean, technically, it's what my daughter would call a pass shot, point and shoot shot. You know, it's not artistically amazing, aperture and lighting and everything else, but you know what? It's still a priceless moment. Okay, at the event, take lots of family photos. And I will tell you that one of the things I've learned is that you need to take a lot of photos, because here's what will happen. You'll shoot an event, and you'll come back, and mom will email you after she's looked at the gallery and go, I don't see any pictures of Aunt Harriet. Do you have any? Now, that's a problem, because I don't know who Aunt Harriet is. And then you have to invite them over to your house, And now we're back to our 2-hour meeting, which is supposed to be 10 minutes. So you want to shoot, and you want to cover yourself, and get all the family pictures. So I like to do family pictures. I love ambient light. So even on rainy days, I will find a covered area if I can, and take them out and get some outside shots with trees or greenery in the background. Yeah, you do your standard shots at the bema or pulpit, whatever you're shooting. You want to get those pictures. At the parties, I'll also get them together when they're dressed differently in the evening, or at the wedding, she's changed out of her dress. We'll do more, because it's important to get. Now comes the tricky part. How do you go through all those images and save time? So here's the way I work. I shoot a lot. I download. The first thing I do when I use a program called Photo Mechanic. Anybody here use it? Probably not. One person, 2 people. Photo Mechanic is unbelievable. It is blazing fast. Way faster than Aperture and Lightroom and all those. But it doesn't do all the editing that Aperture and Lightroom do. You can't start adjusting exposure and do all that stuff. But it lets you pick your images at blazing speed. So I'm going through, and I just go through my images. Let's take, I shot in the morning. I go home, I have 900 images, give or take. I go through those, I go, and when I do a group shot, I don't just do a shot. You do boom, 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 good, next group. So I've got eyes open, everybody looking good. So I go through those groups, mom's eyes, and sometimes you get blinkies, right? I had one 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was one relative, I swear, 50% of the images, she's blinking. So I take those, get rid of them. So I hit T for tag. So I go through my images, tag, tag, no, tag, 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 tag. And then I go Command T for selecting all tagged, delete, boom. I'm down now from 900 down to 650, give or take. So trash, gone. 650, I start from the first image, and now I mark the ones I want to show the family. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. And I color code them. So 4, and 1 through 10, this is my own system. 4 is an image I want to show them. Good, good, good. Ooh, that's a really good one. 3. That one's going to be 3, which is orange. Then I go through, by the way, green here this was for vendors. So DJ working, whatever. So I'm coding it. Okay, good one. Great, let's say I had a money shot. Woo, this is a great one. 2. I reserve 1 for finished edited images. Then what I do is I just go to the bottom of the screen and I can filter out and just look at 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s, or what have you. So then what I do is I filter out the non-ranked. Now I'm down from 650 down to 250, and that's what the family's going to see. And that entire process, hopefully, the entire mitzvah gets done within an hour and a half through 22 images. And I'll tell you why I got good at this. When you shoot the Olympics, I'm shooting in London for USA, Team USA, water polo, USA swimming, and some other teams. I am contractually obligated to go through my 3,000 images from each game and have them find the key 5 images from the game, pick them, edit them, and FTP them back to the United States within 2 hours of every game. You gotta be quick. And you see guys at the Olympics, it's so competitive. Guys are on the bus going from one venue to the next, and they're doing this. And almost every photographer from the Olympics uses Photo Mechanic. And it's just because of speed. And you have little dongles, and you're posting from the bus. When we shot the half pipe with Shaun White, they ran Ethernet lines on the snow to us. So we were posting. He made his first run. They still had more runs to do, and we're already posting. He won. Here's the images. It's crazy competitive. My son, why was I shooting half pipe when I was shooting for USA Hockey? Because my son said, if you don't shoot Shaun White, don't come home. See, like my daughter, she plays field hockey. She says, Dad, when you're in London, you better go shoot field hockey. I said, oh, okay. So I will. Yeah.
So you're starting off with Photo Mechanic, and then you're moving into...
Great question. What do I start? I start off with Photo Mechanic, and I go straight from Photo Mechanic to Photoshop CS5. So the great thing about Photo Mechanic is you can tell it, if you hit E for edit, it'll automatically launch Photoshop. So that's what I do. I go through my images and I hit E to edit if I need to edit. But I do not edit an image until someone orders it. Except for my maybe 10 or 15 favorites like you're doing. I'll just edit some favorites to show them in a folder. Here's photographer's favorites. And this is what a completed, edited, retouched image looks like. So you can see the difference between the original and this one before you order. So I go through, I pick them, I classify them. And then I go in and I say, okay, now I filtered out all the ones, and I would typically filter out the greens because I don't want to give them the vendor ones. And then I'll just say, save as, 20% size, watermarked right across the middle, saying Jeff Cable Photography 2012. Okay. About 3 minutes later, it's converted all those into 20% size. Those get uploaded to the gallery, or in this case, a slideshow, which we'll talk about in a second, and I'm done. It's really quick. Yeah.
What do you use for your gallery service?
What do I use for my gallery service? I use Digilabs. They're in California. I don't use Pictage because I don't shoot, and if I shot every day, it would justify the cost of Pictage. But Digilabs has worked great for me, and they're a lot less expensive. It's digilabspro.com, I think it is. Or you just Google Digilabs. Anyway, so then I do my resize, I upload, I take orders. And I just tell the client, here's the gallery. These are untouched images. They will be retouched when you order them. That way I don't have to retouch all of them. Time, get them out there. Software, as I mentioned, I start with Photo Mechanic. Then I do use Lightroom a little bit. And what I'll do is, if I'm shooting an event in the morning, and then I'm doing an evening party, I like to build a slideshow. If I feel that it needs some minor modifications in exposure, I'll go in Photo Mechanic, I'll pick my favorite 250, and I'll put them in a different folder, bring them in Lightroom, and make some adjustments, if I have time. I do use CS5. I do use plugins rarely. I reduce noise with Nick Define, but the problem is it takes an extra 5 minutes per image, which is time, which is money. So I try not to if I can avoid it. I do fix skin, but that's generally only if they order an enlargement, or it's going to be a big print or something where if they're ordering a 4x6, there's no reason to be fixing skin because you'll never see it. It's wasting time. Here's the best one, Grandma. Can you get rid of my wrinkles? I go, you earned those wrinkles. I'll lighten them, but I won't get rid of them. How many people have seen the ad in the magazines that show the before and after? They took the girl with the cute freckles, and they got rid of them, as if that's a good thing. Be careful not to over retouch. Or over whitening eyes or whitening teeth, and they look like they're coming. The alien shot we had a little bit ago, out of this world. I mean, really, let's keep it within reality. So you want to. It's like seasoning. And I've done this before. Oh, I love curry. I'll just dump a bunch in. I've done that. And it's like, oh, this ruined my recipe. And I think the same thing is true with retouching, is you want to do it to taste, right? Don't overdo it. Adding effects. Yeah, once in a while I'll turn them black and white. And sepia, or do some stuff, different stuff. I rarely run an action on anything. And some people, that's their style, and that's okay. This is not mine. On file naming, this is really, really important. Now, not only for naming the files, but for creating your folders. You will find that if you don't do this, you'll end up paying for it later. I put everything by date. So something I shoot today, today's the 9th, would be 2012 0209 underscore, tomorrow, 2012 0210 underscore 9/11 Memorial. And I never use spaces because some websites and things don't like spaces. So I always use underscores. But now, when I look at my folders in my directory on my computer, everything's chronological. It makes it way easier. I went through every image I've taken since 1996 that was digital, I believe, and recoded everything. It took me about 3 months. It was a pain in the butt. But once you do it, it makes life so much easier. I limit my editing until I get an order. Now, this comes with better shooting. When I first started shooting, my shots weren't all that great, so you had to edit. When you get good enough at shooting, you're 95% of the way there, they're good enough to post as is. Yeah, are some too dark? Are some kind of grainy? Are some too bright? So you just tell people, don't worry, I'll take care of them later. Here's some samples of what it looks like when they're edited. And then I move on. Because last thing you want to do is spend 3 hours editing or 5 hours editing for you, for nothing that just goes to garbage. No one ordered them. So I put them on my gallery. I get an email from my service from Digilabs that says, Sally Jones just ordered these 5 images. Then I retouch those 5 images. I'll print them myself or job them out and deliver them. So you want to find a good hosting service. You can use SmugMug and all these other ones. Like I said, I use Digilabs because it works for me. The cost structure works. I don't have to pay a lot of money to them. I don't have to pay $150 a month or whatever it is. They take 17% of my sales because they take the credit cards and everything else. That works for me. I am really tough about user interface. This is what it looks like on my gallery, but it's got my logo and it doesn't say Digital Labs up here. It just says web, I think it's sendtoprint.com, but it doesn't say some other company that's out there, so it looks like my own. And that's linked from my page. You want to make it easy for people to spend money. And I don't have crazy expensive pricing because I want people to be able to get prints. So an 8x10 is like 20 bucks. 22, I think it is. 5x7 is 14, 4x6 is 11 bucks. And I purposely make the 4x6 and the 5x7 close in price because I'd rather than buy a 5x7. It looks a lot better. My wife decided about 2 years ago, we shouldn't even offer 4x6s because it doesn't show off your work very well. So we took it off the price list. That lasted about 2 weeks before being like, where are 4x6s? Okay, fine, put them back on. Everybody wants it. Yep, everybody's got frames they want to do for 4x6.
The 5x7 is what?
14 bucks for 5x7. And again, that's California pricing, so I don't know what you're going to do here. Of course, New York isn't much cheaper, so I guess, if you're shooting in this area, probably same kind of thing. Market to your customers. Here's an interesting thing. How many? I was married 21 years ago. I couldn't tell you the name of my photographer. No idea. I mean, do most people here remember who did their weddings and stuff? Unless it was last year? No. My customers do, because I keep in touch with them. So I don't send them happy birthday stuff because I'm not that organized. But New Year's, or like before I go to the Olympics, I'll send something, hey, I'm going to the Olympics again. Check out the blog to see my daily, what it's like behind the scenes kind of stuff. All my Jewish clients, I'll send them a happy Jewish New Year's, the high holidays or maybe something like that. Once in a while, I don't overdo it, but I'll send something out there. I keep my name in front of them. The other thing that's cool about my gallery is whenever someone logs into the gallery, they have to register with their email address. Now, sometimes they put, johndoe@yahoo.com, yeah, whatever. But for the most part, most people put it in there. Here's the best part. I send an email out the day after the event. I say, here's your gallery, it's already posted, you're ready to go. How many people look at it that day? Not many. They're blown away. They just got done with their wedding, or they just got done with their mitzvah and they got family in town. Not many, some are crazy high-tech nuts like I am, and they'll be on it within 20 minutes. But most of the time, they don't get to it that day. But I'm done. And here's what I tell them. The email says, thank you for letting me capture your day. It was great. Your friends and family were awesome. I had a great time. And I'll customize it, try it for each family a little bit. Your gallery is posted. Here's how you get to the gallery. Here's your password. Please share this with your friends and family that came to the mitzvah, because a lot of people wanted to see the images. AKA, please let your friends and family order prints from me and make me some money. Nothing wrong with that. And the families love it because it doesn't bother them. They order directly from me. They're out of the picture. One of the things I love is, like, if you look at my iPhone right now, you'll see from the one I shot Saturday, oodles of people that are logging in. Those are also prospective clients, and I have their email address. Now, do I drive them crazy? Nope. I keep my galleries up online for 6 months. And believe it or not, a lot of people have me extend those. So 5.5 months from now, I get an email from Digital Labs that says, your gallery is about to expire. I send an email to everybody who logged in. And it says, just want to let you know, this is your last chance. You have 2 weeks before this gallery is done, and you can't order the pictures anymore. So now's your last chance to order them. 2 reasons that goes out. One is to try to get last sales. But the other thing is, it's my first direct contact to those people. And it's surprising. You'll get emails back saying, oh, thank you for saying this. By the way, are you available September of 2014? Happens. It's your first direct relationship with that customer. So it's a good thing to do. All right, making more money. 99% of our events that we shoot, we do either a book or an album. Depending on how much money they want to spend. Albums are like 3 times the price of a book. But depends. Most time for weddings, they'll do albums. Although we're getting more and more mitzvah clients doing albums as well. Pre-shoot. So if it's a wedding couple, you could do engagement shots. If it's even bar mitzvah kids, they'll do the signature boards, so they want the portrait done. The great thing about that is it is additional revenue, but it also is a great way to establish a rapport with the kid or with the family or the couple getting married, to get to know them a little bit better. So that the day of the wedding or the bar mitzvah, you go, you know the routine. We're going to start shooting. Good, yeah, and they're comfortable with me. so that helps. You can offer gallery wraps and other print options. I typically don't do a meeting with the client afterwards. My second shooter does, because she has a lot more time than I do. So she meets with them and shows them a slideshow, and she does a very good job of upselling them. I personally, because I have a full-time job as well, I don't want the clients at my house. I send them the gallery, they're off and running. Once in a while, they'll say to me, can we get a printed proof book because grandma doesn't have a computer? Sure. You want to pay for that? I'll do a printed proof book for you.
What are you calling a gallery wrap?
A gallery wrap would be like the canvas wraps that you do that hang on the wall.
Oh.
Yeah. And as you see here, I do sell the digital images that we talked about only if they're edited and retouched. Here's the best one, projector and screen. How many people here project your images? Let me tell you that this entire room is missing out on the #1 way to market. Let me tell you the way I do this. When I shoot an event, and one of the things that makes me different is I almost always project my images at the event. So let's say I'm shooting a wedding and it goes straight from the wedding right into the reception, right? I shoot. When we get to the reception, if it's a different place, I get my car and I haul as fast as I can to get there before everybody else. I set my computer and my reader, high-speed cards. I download, I've got maybe 5 minutes. So I'm downloading. While I'm downloading, I'm shooting the centerpieces in the room, okay? I'm looking over, okay, it's done. I go back over and I go through and I do my picks. And I'm not color coding anything because this is just for today. And I'm going through, I'm going yes, 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 Command L, slideshow, this is all in Photo Mechanic, done. And literally within 10 minutes, when everybody's walking into the room, they're seeing the pictures that we shot just now, and they freak out. And the old people, like, how'd you do that? But even the younger people who are used to the digital age are like, that is cool. So the people that see you walking around like this, and they go, wow, this guy's working really hard. But they don't know what you're taking. Now all of a sudden, you got a room full of people looking at the images going, wow, that's a great shot. And all of a sudden they see that you're a good photographer. And they want to hire you. Like I said, at Mitzvahs, you're surrounded by Jewish people who are in the same class with the kids that are getting theirs 6 months later, going, oh, we want this guy. Here's what I do. Halfway through the party, it's now, let's say it's the evening party from 6:30 to 10:30. It's now 8:30. Well, those slides have been looping for the last 2 hours. And everybody's pretty much seen them. And they sit down for dinner. What do? I take both my cameras, I run over there, I take both cards out, and I download those, and I still go around and shoot while those downloading. I'm watching it. Okay, it's done. Switch to the next card. Keep shooting. And then I go over there, I close the cover of my projector, and I start picking again. And boom, 5 minutes later, I have the first 2 hours of the party rolling during the second 2 hours. You think they were freaked out the first time, now they're really freaked out. Wow, that's unbelievable. And of course, the kids love seeing themselves. And here's the funniest part, so the adults. Wow, that's a great shot of you, honey. You usually don't take good pictures. That's really good. Ta-da! And that's when people come to you and go, can I have your card? You go, oh yeah.
So you're actually physically projecting on the screen?
Yeah, so I hook my laptop up to a projector. So I got the new Epson 1850 projector. Here's the thing. You buy the projector for $1,000 with a screen. And then you rent it to your clients for $250 per event. Because remember, they're doing a montage. And you tell them, don't worry about renting it from the hotel. I'll bring mine. You can use mine for the montage too. I don't care. But I can do a slideshow for you. And believe me, they go, oh yeah, we saw that at the Bernstein's wedding and it was cool. We want that. $250. They're already spending $3 or $4 grand with you anyway. $250 is no big deal. What you give them is an unbelievable thing, and they always love it. But you just paid for a projector in 4 events. And now it's just profit.
How big of a screen are you projecting?
Screen's about not quite this big, maybe, I don't remember what it is, 6 feet by 9 feet kind of thing.
How are you setting up the projector itself?
Projectors on whatever table, so when I get to a venue, I say, oh, I need a small table. I bring my own extension cord, gaffer tape, put it down, and done. And the cool thing about that new Epson projector is, you guys know what keystoning is, right? The keystone's this way. Well, the new Epson projector I got, keystone's this way. So I can put the one I did last weekend, I put on a piano about here, the screen was there. So normally if it's projecting right here, it's gonna be all wonky. I can keystone horizontally, it's the coolest thing ever. And so I put it and I just set it up and it just loops. And let me tell you something, that is the best marketing I ever did. And that first mitzvah I did, when the dad said to me, hey, can we project in the evening? Now remember, I'd never done one of these before. I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I was editing, trust me, a lot at a hotel near their venue. And then we projected, and that's when people came up to me and said, your work is amazing, can we have your card? I started putting all that together and go, oh, wait a second. How do they know I'm amazing? Well, I wasn't amazing, I was okay. They're seeing your work. If a family says to me, I don't want to do projection, I don't want to pay for it, it's too expensive. Sometimes what I'll do is if they're a really cool family, I'll just say, tell you what, I'll throw it in. Like that day, I'll just say, you know what, I'll just throw it in. Who am I throwing in for them? Partially, but really more for me. So post-editing. As I mentioned before, I mentioned this earlier, I don't reformat cards until it's downloaded and backed up, and generally, I don't go to sleep that night until they're downloaded and backed up. Because I want to go to sleep knowing that that's done. And this is a challenge because you get home at midnight, you've been going since 8:30 in the morning, you're exhausted. But still, it's that peace of mind. I've got the fast cards and readers, I can get done pretty quick. So offsite backup, as I talked about, is really important because you want to make sure you have it in a separate place. Take your best image and put it on your portfolio. If you get that really great shot that represents you well, make sure you add it there. Blog about your shoot, as I talked about, that's a great thing. I do it because I really like to share. I've been really lucky. Lexar sponsors some of the best photographers in the world, and I get to hang with those guys, Dennis Reggie, Joe Busink, Moose Peterson, Joe McNally, and these are guys I get to, who become friends, and they're tough on me. So when I first started shooting, I'd send a picture to those guys and go, look at this one. And my friends are like, wow, and they'd be like, it's crap. And you need that. You need people to be honest with you and just tell you, this is what's wrong with it, fix it. But I blog because I'm trying to share now my experiences back for everybody else to say, here's like when I shoot an event or if I shoot sports, I've got stuff like on my blog, I just shot basketball, what's the best way to do it? Whatever. So I put stuff on there about white balancing or servo focus or whatever. But it's good for the family to see that you're working hard. Add to your social media sites. Generally when I blog, it automatically links to Facebook, and I don't tweet much because frankly, I just don't like it that much, but it automatically links to Twitter. Here's my favorite tips. Here's the big money maker. You guys ready? If you're gonna take anything away, here it is. This is your big tips. Surprise the client and over deliver. And I'll tell you how I do that. I get home in the morning. I just shot your event from 9 in the morning to 1. I go home. Even if it's a half-hour drive or wherever, 45-minute drive, I'll go home. I go through my images, build the slideshow, and I look for that one key image. Maybe it's the family, maybe it's a kid holding the Torah, like that girl that you saw. That was one I used. And I take my Epson printer, and I print, and I frame my favorite image. And I show up to the evening party, and I go, ta-da! Look what I brought you. Remember those tears of money I talked about? Mom's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And they totally appreciate it. And it's a ton of work. But I print those.
You bring a printer with you?
No, I don't bring a printer with me. No, it's too big. I go home because I want to edit on my big screen. I go edit, print, do everything there. But this started, like I said, almost a year ago when my mom passed away, is the only time I've missed an event. So Friday morning I shot the practice because you're not allowed to shoot bar mitzvah in this particular temple. So I shot their images. That next evening, my mom had a botched surgery. I knew things were bad. I told the family, we have a problem. I'm not going to be there Saturday night. And I told them this on Friday morning after I shot their pictures. If I told them before, you'd get sadness back in the camera. So mom says, how's your mom doing? I said, we're good. We'll talk about that later. Let's shoot. Because I don't want them looking at me with any sadness in those images. So I shot all the pictures. At the end, I pulled mom aside and said, things are not looking good. I may not be there tomorrow night. Thank God my backup shooter was available. She shot the whole event for me. As a thank you to the family for understanding, which of course they did, I thought, I'll print them a nice picture because I got this killer picture of their family. I printed it and brought it to them, and she loved it. And I thought, wait a second, I could do that every week whenever I shoot. So now, if I'm close to home, I go home and I print that and I bring it to them. And let me tell you something. The frames, you get it like, I don't know, what is it, Michael's, I don't know what you guys have out here. One of those places, they always do those 50% off frame sales. So you print that, the print I do on velvet fine art paper, big sheet. It'll cost $3, I don't know. And the ink. So I print that out, it cost me, let's say it's $5, give or take. Beautiful paper, by the way. Really nice, like watercolor, thick, good stuff. Frame cost me 25 bucks. So I'm into this thing about 30 bucks. That 30 bucks is worth how much to that customer, and what does it make me look like? 500? I don't know, 600, 800, 1,000? I don't know what I don't even know. But it's worth more than 30 bucks. So you hand that to the family, and I put my business card in the back, and it's a gift. Don't charge them. That's for them. It's unbelievable the reaction you get. And I bring a little stand to my truck. My wife brought me a little stand for it. So what do? Well, we put it there on the table. This was before I had the stand. We just leaned it. But I put it there on the table with the place cards. So everybody walking in goes, huh? What? Is that from today? Same reaction as the projector. Wow, this guy's working his butt off. And I'm telling you, I tell my wife all the time, I go, you know what that printer's printing? She says, pictures? Nope, money. It's a $500 printer. And when people order 4x6s or 5x7s, just a couple of them, I print them on that. I'm not gonna job out. If they order 100 images, I'll probably job it out. But for just one-offs, that printer. It's amazing. Change the way I do business. I market using Google, we talked about that. Market yourself at the event, and that means make sure that you're cognizant of your attitude at all times. My son, who's almost 17, he's doing some video, and he'll go with me. And we shot an event about 6 months ago, and he was done. End of the night, he was tired. There's still another hour of the party, but he was shot out. And he's sitting there like this. He's 16. He's supposed to have that look, right? So he's in this like booth in this restaurant thing, like that. I said, you get your butt up, you get the camera in your hand, and you walk around. I don't even care if you're recording. You better look like you're recording, and you better have a smile on your face, because you are representing me. And I've seen DJs do this too, where they're bored, and you look at them, and they're bored, and you can tell. No way. Don't do that. I'm not going to help you. When I eat, I don't eat in the room. I find a staircase. I don't care if I'm eating in the back alleyway or whatever. I don't like to be seen sitting down. And I usually eat in about 2 minutes. Shoot. So I want to be there. And the worst thing you hear is, where were you? Grandpa was dancing with, whatever, Grandma, and it was a great moment, and you weren't here. I don't want that. Again, as I mentioned, you're a historian. You're not a photographer. You're capturing family history. And this is true when those people contact me and say, you got that great picture of Grandma who's no longer with us. Like that picture of my mom. That picture is so important to me now. It was on a cruise ship. It was just a shot I happened to get. But that picture, our photographer that shot my wedding was horrible. She dropped her Hasselblad 10 minutes into the shoot and shot the rest with a 35 millimeter. It was horrible. Every shot was like 2 stops underexposed, but she got one killer shot of my wife that was probably worth every dollar I paid her. Questionable, but maybe. Shoot your images for you. As I mentioned, you want to shoot and be creative and keep yourself awake, but also it's going to give you the ability to also edit for you, which is going to over-deliver for your client. Stay in touch with your client is really, really important. Make sure they don't forget you, because all those kids that are 13, like the first one I shot, she's now 20, which means she's probably, 3 or 4 or 5 years from getting married. Not bad, steady stream of income in the future. So lastly, what are you gonna do with your time? Shoot what you love. I shoot all the time. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm gonna go out to the 9/11 Memorial, I'm gonna shoot. What's it for? Me. I love shooting. Went to Disneyland with the kids, I said, I promise you I will not bring my camera. How many of you guys have heard that one? We're gonna go on vacation, don't bring your camera. Really? Seriously? So what do? You outfit your family with cameras. So my daughter has a 30D, my son's got his 40D, my wife's got a G11, they all have their iPhones, and we go out, we shoot. So you try to do it that way. But the last night of the trip, I said, I gotta get this shot. Why did I shoot it? For me. I love the shot, it was cool, pretty colors, thought it was neat. Market your photography. Always think about marketing. Learn new techniques, because the minute we stop learning, it becomes boring. I still learn. I learn from you guys. And people here that shoot, they'll send me, and I'll answer emails. Send me your website. I'd love to see other people's work and see what you're doing. And I'll critique it and love to see what you guys, because I guarantee you, you'll see stuff that I'm not seeing. My daughter, who's 14, shoots. We'll go shoot the exact same thing, or my wife. We went to Stanford last weekend, and my wife with her iPhone, she was shooting detail shots. I was shooting more wide. I'm like, good stuff. She sees things differently, and I learn from her. Spending time with the family. It's a novel idea. But when you're shooting working 5 days a week and then shooting all day Saturday, it's nice to have some time with the family. So you want to try to spend that time, get things done quickly so you can do that. And of course, the number one reason we shoot and make money is so we can buy more camera gear, right? It's like you go to Costco and they've got that dog food, the huge bag for $15, and you got to buy it, and you don't even own a dog, but it's like, this place, like I swear a third of my paycheck comes right back to B&H. It's like, we just love to buy stuff, right? Like you see that new lens, like, oh, I gotta have that. Or the 1DX, gotta have that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's brutal. It's like a sickness that we all have. So we got to do that. So here's the deal. So here's my email address. It's jcable@jeffcable.com. My Facebook is Jeff Cable Photography. So if you go on there and just like that, that'll automatically send you the link to all the blogs I'm doing. Or you can just go to jeffcable.blogspot.com. If you go to my blog, and you can just get to all this from jeffcable.com. If you go to the blog, I just added the ability to put your email address in there, and that way it'll email you every time I put a new blog entry in. And of course, the website. So the other thing is, for Lexar, obviously, you can go to lexar.com and see. We just announced all new products. So we have the new 600X SD, the 1000X compact flash, newer reader, and we just put up the new wall yesterday. And if you look out right here, you'll see our new wall. It looks really cool. So Lexar did sponsor this, and which is kind of weird because I work for them, but it's why I'm here. So I was actually training you guys, but I was also training their salespeople on all the new products. It's a great company. I'm proud to be affiliated with them. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to be in the photo industry and I get to shoot. I mean, it really is, it's like a dream. And I keep that in mind as I do events or teach. So if you guys have any questions, you can always email me and I will try to help you guys out or critique websites or whatever you want. So, did everybody learn something? Cool.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.